Hey guys, my name is K2, and in this video series what we're going to do is actually go through onboarding on AlphaSharks and essentially learning how to use it efficiently. So to get started, all you have to do is head over to alphasharks.io, and this page is going to open up. This is the primary login page. Now if you're not logged in already, it's really simple. You just have to click on the bottom right. You're going to see Connect Wallet. Just click on it and select whatever Web3 wallet you use and simply connect to it. I'm just going to log in with MetaMask, so let's wait for this to quickly happen. So once you've signed the transaction, it's going to validate if it's a valid sign in or not, and if you have access to the app. So just give it a few seconds to do that, and once it's done, you can click on Get Started. Now once you do that, you're going to be logged in, and it's going to tell what type of access you have. It's going to say either partial access or full access. If you have full access, you're good to go. On partial access, some of the functionality may be restricted. So to get started with the app, first of all, you will find all the basic tutorials right here, and you're going to find this video here as well. So you're going to be able to view specific parts of this video directly from the dashboard in case you want to come back to something later on. So really simple. Once you're logged in, what you can do is you can see on the top we have, first of all, the AlphaSharks logo, and then we have the search bar that you can use to search for any specific project. So you can also access this by pressing the /. So you just click it and it's going to pop up, and you can search for any specific project right here. So you can search any project on there, and it's going to show you the real-time volume trend on it with the delta of the last 24 hours along with the floor price. So you have access to this data right here along with the 24-hour volume as well. So you can search anything on here, and it's going to tell you how it's performing over time, just so you have a quick glance at how it works. So that's going to be your search functionality. After that, we have 3 tabs. So first of all, we have Trend, Discover, and Bidding. We're going to be going through each one of them separately. But first of all, I'm just going to be walking through the header bar and the bottom footer we have that you can use to essentially set up different gas settings and different functionality that you can set across the app. So these 3 options, we're going to be going over that in a bit. Then you have notifications, which we're going to send you if there is any update or anything. You're going to be able to simply follow it up here, and it's really a good idea to keep updated to this. So if there is something wrong or something new coming or some new feature launch, you know about it as it launches. Then you have settings that you can use to essentially set a secondary wallet. So you can set something like let's say you don't want to use the main wallet that you're logged in with currently, and you want to use a secondary burner wallet. You can just set it up here, and then if you log in with that wallet, you're going to be able to basically mirror the same authentication that you have on this specific wallet. So just set it over to Tools Wallet and click on Save. So I'll just show it by saving the same one. So I just paste it in. The others you can ignore. It's for holders, for Marketplace and Solana Wallet. You can ignore that. But this one you can just click on Save and just wait for this to process in a second. So it's going to ask you to sign another transaction to save this data, just so we confirm that you actually saved it. So you just sign it, and it's going to confirm in a second if your secondary wallet is saved or not. Just as soon as this gives you confirmation, you should be good to log in with a secondary wallet as well. So that's done. So now I can log in with the other wallet as well, which was the same in this case, but if you set a different wallet, you're going to be able to log in with that. Then we have your wallet address, which is going to show up right here. You can also use this to either copy address or sign out directly from the app. So this is how you would sign out. And that's how the header bar is going to work. You have the basic search functionality, navigation, notification, and settings. And this is how you use it. The next thing we have is going to be the footer. So the footer is basically going to be your sticky quick access for some basic functionality that you would need. The first thing it's going to show you is going to be your balance. So it's going to show you how much ETH and WETH you have. So when you're on the platform, you exactly know how much ETH and WETH you're dealing with. Just for the background, I think this is not a good background for you. I'm just going to switch to trend page just so we are able to see it a bit more clear. Then we have the marketplaces that you can enable and disable using the footer. So let's say we show listings from all of these marketplaces, and you don't want to see it from a specific marketplace. You can use these options to disable or enable these marketplaces. Then you have rank settings that you can use. Essentially, there is multiple rank settings that we show ranks with. So you can use these settings to change those ranks, how we show those ranks. If you want to mirror a specific website, you want to mirror their ranks, you adjust these settings accordingly, and you're going to be able to see rankings accordingly. So that's how you use that. And then we have the ETH price, the gas value, which is going to show you the default, and then the default gas on the network right now, live gas. And then you have priority and fee that you can set with the custom widget. You can set any kind of priority fee or whatever you want your transactions to send, essentially. And then you have your default option as well. And you can access these by also using the hotkeys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are going to be your hotkeys for this. If you want to check what hotkeys basically refer to what, you can just click on this button on the right side, and it's going to show you that / is going to be for search, and these are the settings for these are the options for switching gas, essentially. Then if you want to change the default settings on gas, for example on fast mode, you want to change how it works, you can just click on the gas setting and you can set a custom value here. So let's say you want to set a 5 times multiplier and you want to send a 50 plus gas with, let's say, 50 priority. So you can set something like this here, and it's going to reflect on the gas that you've selected once you click on apply. So you're gonna others are not going to be affected, only the one that you change is going to be affected, and it's going to basically apply these multiplier on the default gas that we have. So then you have multiple modes that you can set, and just having a quick option to switch between them with using the hotkeys, generally very, very useful. So that's how the basic function is going to work. The next thing we're going to be working on and going through is going to be the trend page. Now, in this case, we're already on it, so let's just get started with that. So once you go over to the trend page, you're going to be able to see the projects that are trending in real time, and you can select different time frames on it. So what I'm going to do is actually go from the top to the bottom, explaining all aspects of what we see here. So first of all, we have trending projects written here, and then you have live, which basically just shows if the page is live or not. If it's not, it's going to show like a yellow icon on here instead of green, so you know that something is wrong. But if it's green, you're all good, everything is live. Then you have different time frames that you can select on this page, from 1 minute to 24 hours. You can select anything you want on it, and basically what this is going to do is sort and filter your data based on the time frame that you select. So if you select 1 minute, it's going to show you projects that have sold the most in the last minute, and you can select any time frame on this. Again, you can go 15 minutes and up to 24 hours, and we can see this project has sold 5,000, and basically it's going to be sorted by the most sold to the least in the last 24 hours. And you cannot change the sorting on these. We only let you sort it by the number of sales, just so you have a good idea of what's selling the most instead of doing it by volume. So let's say what you would do generally on this is want to stay around like 5 minutes to 15 minutes, and you're going to be able to catch projects that suddenly start trending. So let's say this project just suddenly got 42 sales in the last 5 minutes. I can follow up and see if the trend is continuing or it started just now. And you can switch multiple time frames to see that if it sold in the last minute, and you can see that it sold 6 in 5 minutes. It was a bit more, so we can see the trend is kind of maintaining itself. And you can also understand this with the looking at this small graph, but we're going to be going over that in a bit. So let's say you understand how this works. You can select multiple time frames, and it's going to show you how many sales the project has gotten in the time frame that you select, sorted by the most sales to the least. Simple enough. Then we have the project, the widget itself, the project cards. So first of all, it's going to show you the project image. It's going to show you the total supply the project has in real time, and this, yeah. So this yellow marker you see alongside with supply is going to be your real-time pending transaction. So it means 2 tokens are being bought, and now they just got bought. If we scroll down, we're going to be able to see 2 people bought 2 tokens. We're going to be going over that widget in a bit. So it's basically going to show you pending transactions that are going on this project. So essentially, you can figure out projects that are trending before they get trending. So you can see how many pending transactions the project has. If it just suddenly starting to get too many of them, you know that this is going to get sales in the next block. So you know it before that. Then you have the project name itself, followed by the unique holders. How much percentage of these holders are unique? So 43% people in this project that hold this are unique holders. So this is something that you would want to look at before you get into a project. If the holders, the unique holders are really, really low, it's something that you might want to stay away from. It just really depends how you're using it, but then some projects have staking, so you do have to consider all of that as well. So unique holders is going to show you 43%. Unique people, unique wallets hold this amount of token. Then you have 2 icons on here, which basically show you blue chip percentage on this project. So if you see one of these, it means it's under 15%. If you see 2 of them, it means it's over 15%. If it's like less than 5%, it's not going to show you any of these markers here. So we can see that these projects have some blue chip holdings, and just basically looking at this marker, you're going to be able to know quite quickly that this is a project that like notable holders are holding right now. So it might be worth a look. Then you have listed percentage, which is going to show you how much percentage of the tokens on this project are listed. So 9% is listed. So out of 19,000 tokens, 9% of the supply is listed right now. So that's what it's going to show you, and it's going to be colored based on how rare, how less number of listings it has. So under 15%, it's going to be this color. Anything over 15% is going to be a normal gray color, so it's not highlighted. Under 5% is going to be a little bit more highlighted with the purple color. So you're going to be able to instantly see the listed percentages as well. Then you have volume. So this volume is going to be based on what time frame you've selected. So if you select 15 minutes, this is going to vary, as you can see. So this is going to be in the last 5 minutes. This is the amount of volume this project has driven. Then you have the small sales chart, which is going to show you overtime performance of this project. This is not to look at, this is not to get like deep information about it, but it's more for just knowing the trend. Like this one, you can instantly tell that it wasn't doing anything before, and now it just started to trend. So it might be something is going on here, and you can go ahead and check it out, what's up. So it's just a small graph to give you an idea of what could be if it's consistently getting sales or it suddenly started to trend, and all of those indicators basically. Then you have the floor price, which is going to be the floor. The cheapest listing on this project is listed at this price. Then you have the number of sales that it's gotten in the last 20 minutes, in the last time frame that you select, I mean. Then we have an indicator which basically goes up and down. What this means is if its position has gone up or down since the last refresh, or you can call it delta also. So if it goes down, it's going to be down. If the project is coming up constantly, it's going to be up. That's how it's going to work. On the right side, what we have is live sales. So it's going to show you, number one, on the top, it's going to show you the projects that have pending transactions on them. So it's going to show you, like you can see on the top, what we have pinned up, pinned basically is going to be projects that have pending transaction. And you're going to be able to see, first of all, on this widget, the project's image, the project's name, what gas they are essentially giving in the transaction, the minimum and the maximum of the 3 transactions, the minimum and the max. Then you have the priority fee and like basically how much ETH is being spent in these transactions, the average amount of ETH. So you can see that it's basically 2 floor listings are probably being bought because it's this much. So you can instantly tell it with that. That's how this is going to work. Then on the right side, you have how many unique people are buying these tokens and the total amount of pending transactions in that token. And you can use the Etherscan button to essentially go over to Etherscan to look at the project as well, if you wish to do that. So that's how this is going to work. On the top, you're going to have pending transactions. If you see something just having a lot of pending transactions, you can instantly like just go ahead and explore it and just click on it to view more details about it. And that's how you would use this right widget. Below that, we just have a feed going on, which shows you the projects as they sell. So this block sold these tokens, the previous one sold something else, and essentially it's going to be a live feed that goes on like that. So that's how your trend page is going to work. The next thing we have is going to be the mint page. So for that, you have to go over to discover, and you can simply do that by clicking over to discover. And here you can see that we have pretty much the same interface as the trending page as well, but it's going to show you the same data. Some metrics are going to be different, but it's going to show you very similar data, and it's going to show you it's going to be sorted by the number of mints rather than sales. But you can look at sales on this as well. So let me go over that. So on the left side, we have a similar widget. It does show a pending transaction, but do remember that this pending transaction is basically a pending mint, and it's not a pending sale. So this means one token is being minted and the supply is going to increase after this transaction. This is what that means. So just remember that on the trend page, is going to be pending transactions. On the discover page is going to be pending mints. Then we have the unique number of owners on this project, percentage listed, number of notable minters on these. So how many notable people have essentially minted this project? That's what it's going to show you. So we can see, like on this one, we have 84, 21. If you click it, you can be able to see more data on this. So if you just click this, you're going to be able to see a breakdown of the notable holders. And actually, I forgot to show it on the trend page, but that's how it's going to work. And you can close this by clicking anywhere on the page, and it's going to close that out. So you can click any of these basically projects. Let me go back to trend page and show you that as well. So you can click any of these projects, and it's going to show you this widget that opens up on the right side as well. So you can use this button to basically dive into deep analytics, or you can just use this widget to basically look at the real-time stats, just summary stats, notable holders, who's holding how many tokens from notable projects, generally like our blue chip projects. Basically, that's what it's going to show you. Then you have sell vol, a super simplified version of sell vol, not a detailed sell vol. Then you have the momentum chart right here. So it's going to show you all of that with the holder distribution below it. So basic stats that you can look at, not something super detailed, but at the same time something that you can look at to get quick summary. That's the point of it. Then you have the discover. So we're already going through it. Again, you get the same functionality on this as well. You can see the notable holders and everything right here. So that's how that's going to work. But instead, one thing that changes on the mint page is going to be this trend that you see here. Instead of showing the amount of sales or volume, it's going to show how many mints have happened. So you can see that mints on this project went up and down. So this chart is going to be 2 hours minimum. So if you select 1 hour, it's still going to show you 2 hours of graph. But if you go more than that, it's going to show you that amount, that chart, basically 6-hour chart. So if you go 24, it's going to show you 24-hour chart. That's how this is going to work. And it's going to show you overtime mint, so you can see if it just started to mint or it's been minting or how it's performing. Just the same you would do with this trending page basically. Then you have floor, the live floor of this project. If it's not listed at all, it's not going to show you the floor. But in these case, most of these tokens are listed, so it's going to show you the floor there. Then you have the price at which this basically got minted for. This is going to be the average price. So art blocks, this specific art blocks, the mint price was 0.509 and it's selling for this floor right now, so you can see the discrepancy. So you can essentially figure out if some project has higher floor than the price of mint. It may be something that you want to quickly look at. Then you have the amount of mints in the time frame that you've selected. So 1 minute, this project minted this many times, and basically a breakdown of that. On the right side, you have exactly what you had on the trend page as well. So it shows you the pending mints. It shows you real-time mints as they happen on every block, and that's how that's going to work. So that's going to be your trend page and discover page. Now we're going to be diving into the bidding page. So we're going to be going over the project page after bidding, just because I want to cover the top pages first. So the bidding, how does bidding work exactly? So once you go to the bidding page, so this is basically a system that lets you bid automatically on OpenSea. Super simple to use, and I'm going to go over how that works. So right now I have W8, so I'm just going to quickly switch to an account that has W8 so we can do that. Okay, apparently I can't find much W8, but we have this. We're going to try to use this. So it's going to show you the wallet that you're logged in with the amount of ETH and W8 it has, and you can click on this button to essentially open your bids on OpenSea. And a quick warning here on how to use this. So we have two modes on this. The first one is going to be your wallet mode, wherein you sign every transaction. The other one is private key that you can use to essentially automatically bid on these, automatically do the bidding for you. You just set up a bid task, and it's going to do all the bids for you. It's going to sign it for you. But for this, you're going to need to enter a private key. If you are opting it for this option, I do recommend checking out the guide on Discord for this, just so you do it safely. It's best to have a secondary, like a burner account for this, that you transfer a little bit of W8 to the amount that you would want to use, and then use that account over here, rather than using your main account. That is really not recommended. But you can use that, and most people do use this option only because you don't want to sign every bid. But you have to be cautious with this. So do read the guide we have on Discord to properly use this. So on the wallet, I'm just going to be using this. But if you do want to do auto bid, you use that option. And I just wanted to mention that just so you know that we have it. You just have to set it up. But for the demonstration of this video, I'm just going to be using the normal wallet signing bids. So if you want to add a new bid task, you just click on add bid. And you can search for any project. Let's say I'm going to search for AlphaSharks. So you just select the project, and then it's going to load up all the data for the project. So just give it a few seconds for that. Once it does that, you have to essentially enter a price, or you can filter these tokens. You don't have to do it. So if you just want to bid on, let's say, tokens that have diamond skin or are cyborgs, you just select that and you click on apply, and it's going to show you how many items you've selected out of the filters that you set. So out of the two filters I set, it's 143 items. So that's going to be filtered out. Then you have to set a price that you want to give these bids. So let's say I want to give 0.006 because that's all I have. I'll just go 0.005, I think, just because I don't want to do more than that right now. Hoping that this goes through, because there is a minimum limit that you do have to give an OpenSea for successful bids, and it's possible it may not go through, but you basically have to enter the amount of ETH you wanna WETH you wanna bid on these tokens. I'm just putting this for demonstration. So you can either go with fixed bids, wherein it would always bid this amount, or you can go with dynamic bids, wherein it's gonna like basically bid a percentage of the floor. So let's say the floor is 1 ETH right now, and you want to bid 20% of it. You can just under 20 here. So it's gonna bid according to that, which is gonna be this much. So you can set like, let's say you always want to stay around 50% of the whatever floor is. So floor in this case is 0.22, and it's gonna bid 0.21. As it reduces, it's gonna adjust the bids accordingly. But for this, I'm just gonna go with fixed bids and go with this. You can also loop this task. So if you wanted to like resubmit bids every certain amount of minutes, you can essentially click on loop and set, let's say, 10 minutes. So it's gonna loop this task every 10 minutes once it's completed, and it's gonna keep bidding on those tokens. This is generally a good strategy because you don't want to like bid for too long. It's better to just bid something like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Let's bid like 15 minutes and then just rerun the task every 20 minutes or something. That's gonna be a better strategy to go about. You can also set a stop price. So if you want bidding to stop, if suddenly the price goes below a certain range, so let's say the floor suddenly crashes to, let's say, 0.01, you can set that like price. So it's basically going to stop the bids itself if that happens. So you do that. That's how you set up a task. Then you click on next, and it's going to show you a basic overview of the task that you're setting up, and then you can click on submit. So this is going to create this bid task for you. Then you can execute it anytime you want. All you have to do for that is just click on the start button here. Once you've created a task, you can also edit the signature type you use. You can go to private key and set it up. And if you do that, it's going to say auto bidding, and it's going to bid for you. But if you want to use manual one, you just essentially just get back to wallet, and you can sign the transactions from here. And it's going to start one by one. If you use the private key, you don't have to do it. That's how it's going to work. But you just sign it. It may fail because, yeah, you have to give more than $5. So these are just going to keep failing for me. But basically, this is how you use it. And just give a little bit of higher limit rather than this, and it's going to work just fine. And like a higher bid rather than just 0.005, because I don't have more. There is a minimum amount that you do have to bid, only then it will work, basically. So I'm just going to remove this task. You can create as many tasks as you want, and that's how the bidding is going to function. And then we have the project page, which is going to be the majority part that we have to go through now. So that's basically the core analytics that AlphaShark offers. And I'm just going to pick up a project that I think is fine for that. Something that has had some consistent volume. So this one seems to be doing fine. Okay, we can either go for that, or we can... Yeah, we'll go for this. So once you just have to click the project. You can either, one sec, so I'll just show that again also. So you can either click the name of the project, or you can just click it and it opens this up. Either you can click on open on view, you can do it either way. So I'm just going to click on that, and it's going to open up the project on analytics view. So let's wait for this to fire up. And depending on your internet connection, this can take a little bit of time. It's very normal because of the amount of data it dumps onto your system and processes it. Like, it's initially going to take a bit of time for the initial load, but once it's done, it's going to be really smooth from that point on. So once it loads up, so that we have the chart, so I'm just going to switch it over to a little bit higher time frame. Let's go 7 days. So that's how this is going to work. So once you have like fired everything up, I'm just going to start from the top because it may seem like a lot of things are going on here. So we're going to just start with the top. So on the top, we have the project name, the contract address that you can copy, or you can open it on OpenSea or Etherscan. If there is more platforms as well, we're going to show you here on that as well. Okay, so yeah, so just continuing. So we have the project name, OpenSea logo, and Etherscan icon. You will generally also find Twitter links and all the other links on here. So if a project has set it up on OpenSea, it's going to load up right here. Then you have when the project was deployed. So this project is about 18 days old, as you can see right here. And it's going to show you the royalty percentages on OpenSea as well as on LooksRare, on X2I2, I mean. So we can see 2.5%. This means there's no royalty, it's just marketplace fees. And it's 0%. So it's basically 0% on both places. Then we have the project supply, which is going to be a real-time supply counter that will show you how much supply the project has, along with the revealed percentage. So it's basically going to represent your rank variety right here. This basically, we'll go over that in a bit, but generally it's possible that this never goes to 100 even if the project is revealed. And I'll explain when that can happen and how you essentially know that this is fully revealed project or not. So then you have holders, which is going to show you a real-time counter of your holders with the percentage change if it's changed in the last day. So we have some about 2% new holders on this project, so it's going to show you right there. And you can see the project, this holders count is going to change in real time. It just got increased by 2 when these sales came in. Then you have the floor of this project. So we can see like all of this is gonna change as in real time as data is changing on the project. Then you have volume on this project, which is gonna be 499.65 in the last 24 hours with a small graph again, which shows you the volume over time in the last 24 hours, with also showing you the 24-hour delta. So it's gotten up by 142% in the last 24 hours. So this is gonna be just summary stats that you look at on the top, just in case you want to get basic idea of what's going on with the project. Then you have a stat bar below it, which is going to basically tell you all the detailed and real-time analytics that you would want to look at when you're essentially momentum trading or trading the project in general. Before we go with this, I'll just quickly show you how the search for token and summary view works. So if you don't remember if you do remember, you're probably going to remember it was like probably 5 minutes ago. But so this view that we had on there, which showed notable holders and everything, you have access to it here as well. You can just click on it and it's going to pop up and you can look at the holder distribution and also the notable holders. So holder distribution is basically showing you that this many people own 2 tokens, this many people hold 1 token, 3 tokens, and it's basically going to be a distribution of that. Then you have the filters that you can set on this project. So clicking on filters, you can just filter it out. Let's say you just want to look at top 1% of the tokens. You can just filter that out and click on apply, and it's going to filter out the tokens that are the top percentages. So you can use those filters to essentially do that. You can use price filter, you can use token filter for just setting ranges for tokens, or you can use trade filters as well, and you can select what trades you want to see here. So if I click on reset on this, it's gonna bring back all the data for us. Then if I want to set a specific trade, let's say I just want to see tokens that have the specific trade, I can click it and it's gonna filter it out by that. But it seems like nothing is listed or sold in the last 7 days with these trades. Because a lot of these ranks that we have here are like super rare. I think it's probably not trading, so I'll just go with something that's more common. So let's try this one. That's kind of weird. It means like probably it's not trading based on trades at all. So we can check that by clicking on this. So yeah, okay, so what's going on here is basically these projects. This project has like same trade data and a lot of values. So we're going to have to handle this in the filters. I think it's probably not being held at the moment, but generally you're going to be able to filter it by that. It's probably going to be fixed by the time you're using it, so it's fine. And then you have and or filters. So you can, if you want multiple trades to match at the same time, you can essentially use the and filter or filter based on that. And that's how filters are going to work. Then you have your supply, which is going to show you real-time counter of supply as we had on the top. It's the same thing. And then you have unique owners, how much unique holders we have. The NBCP percentage, which is going to show you how many blue chip holders are holding this project. So out of the total 7,847 holders, we have 23% of them also hold one of the notable projects. That means like one of the blue chip projects they also hold. So quick counter for that is just going to show you if the holders are legitimate. If there are like decent percentage of that, it's going to be a decent metric that you can look at to essentially make things out of it. Then you have the average mint price of this specific collection. It's going to be overall collection, not by specific token, the overall average mint price of the project. Then you have the floor price, which is going to show you what's the cheapest listing listed at. And then you have amount of listings, how many total listings this project has, the amount of cancels in the last hour. So if there is this many listings in total, we've had 337 cancels in the last hour. So that's a lot of cancels if you think about it. And it's gotten up by about 95%. So that's a lot. So people are essentially canceling their listings as we get into the momentum on this project. So we have 1 day sales, how many tokens sold in the last 1 day with the delta percentage change, how much it changed in the last day. Then you have your 1 hour sales with the same exact metric, 10-minute sales, and 1 hour sweep. So how many of these tokens were actually swept out of these sales that we got in 1 hour, which is 662, about 350 of them were sweeps. It means it either came through Blur, Reservoir, or any of the sweep or Gem, or any of these sweep marketplaces. Basically, it came through that. And then we have how much metadata percentage is fetched and how much rank variety it has. So metadata percentage basically means that we successfully fetched this amount of tokens out of the 18,000 tokens. We've at least fetched these tokens one time, and like we fetched at least 99.6% tokens one time. And once we fetched them, the traits they had were very similar. So rank variety is only 16% on them. So they are not all unique tokens. A lot of them have similar traits, and that's what it's going to show you here. Then what you have is going to be the main trading chart area and the feeds that you have to look at. So to start with, I'm just going to give you an introduction of all the feeds, and then we'll dive into them. So to start with, we have the listing feed here, which is going to show you listings from all the marketplaces, including OpenSea, LooksRare, X2I2, SudoSwap, and Blur, and one more marketplace is being added right now also. But you have any marketplace that basically has any volume today as of now right here. And any marketplace that comes up new, we're going to index them as well. And the speeds on these indexes is going to be faster than any other marketplace that you can like compare with. And you can instantly, like very, very quickly buy these as well. So let's say I will just introduce this for 4 hours. So we are looking at less data. So let's say this is the chart and you are looking at, you want to make a decision on buy, and someone starts a buy transaction. So let's say I want to buy this. I just click on buy, and it's instantly going to execute that transaction and open MetaMask for you. It's going to be way quicker than if you compare it to any app or even like Blur listings you're buying, right? The speed at which you can buy Blur listings is going to be faster than Blur itself, even though we are getting the data from them. We basically have it more optimized, so you're going to be able to essentially buy these tokens quicker, sweep these tokens quicker, and do anything with them much quicker, basically. So that's how this is going to operate. And you can buy listings directly from here. We have the token image, we have the token's rank, the token ID, the price, and this indicator that you see right here basically shows you how many pending transaction that token has. So if we can find one of them, you hover over the token, and it's going to show you that it has one pending transaction with this priority fee, this fee, and it started a few seconds ago on OpenSea. So you can just see if there is a competitive token. If some low rank gets listed, you will see that a lot of transactions will flood in. Now in this case, you can see like this is rank 2, but no one's buying it. The reason for this could be that it's actually traits are not there for this. Like it's an unindexed token. And generally when we do have it ranked and it doesn't have traits, it's 0. The way you fix it is by changing the rank algorithm, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But this basically means that once we were fetching the specific token, there was no traits for it, and they either added them later or it's just not there. So in that case, you can see the rank discrepancy on this pop-up that you open up. Like once you click on any token, it's going to open this summary pop-up. And on here, you can see that we have we have different kind of ranks that we show. So one algorithm shows that the rank is 2, but the others show 3,000, 17,000, and all of this. So what this is basically saying is that based on what like algorithms you use, the ranks can be very different. And when you're buying a token, you're going to be able to see this as well, like different ranks. So if you see like really high discrepancy in these ranks, you know that this token is dangerous to buy based on rank. If there is another reason to buy it, then it's fine. But if you're buying it solely for the rank, which is different on every algorithm, you have to be careful with it. And the confidence score is really, really low. So that's how you would basically use it and know that you probably should stay away from, if you're buying with rank, you should stay away from that specific token, because there could be several reasons why it's not right. So that's how that's going to work. And you can directly buy from this. You can also sweep tokens. So let's say you just want to sweep, let's say 8 tokens out of this. You can just click on 8, and you can select these settings, which let you set like how much, if you want to skip the pending transaction. If you click on skip, we're basically going to skip any transaction that has a pending like transaction on it. Any token that has a pending transaction, just click it, and it's going to skip those and select tokens that don't have any of that. So just as soon as a token gets a pending transaction, it's going to adjust it for you until the time you get click on buy. So you can use the same suspicious one as well. So if a token is marked suspicious, stolen on OpenSea, it's going to basically skip that as well. You can either skip like sweep by items, you can sweep by ETH. So you can select how much ETH you want to sweep with. I just have this, like this is the amount I have in my wallet, so it's just doing that. But if you had more, it's going to let you essentially scrub and select the right amount. You can do a custom sweep as well, in where you can select specific tokens that you want to buy. So if you want to buy like 3, 4, 5 specific tokens, you can use that option to do that. So that's how that's going to work. And generally you would want to sweep by items, and this is going to be the ideal interface to do that. And yeah, that's how you basically do that. And you can also use private key if you want, like we had on the bidding. You can also use the private key option to essentially buy tokens without having to confirm a transaction, which is going to be generally quicker. So let's say I'm buying 4 tokens. I click on buy, right? I don't have sufficient funds, but if you have sufficient funds, it's going to essentially execute the transaction. And the way it's going to do that is going to be very, very quick. In under 1 second, you will have the MetaMask open and the transaction can like started. So it's going to be way faster if you compare it to Gem, if you compare to Genie, if you compare to Blur, wherein it can take several seconds to start the transaction. Here it's going to be way quicker. And actually I can show you this. Let me just open another project which probably has cheaper listings so I can try to buy it. So let's go with this. It's really low. So I just want to show this. We'll go back to that project in a bit, but I'll show you like the general transaction speeds on this. And we can also actually compare it with another platform. But let's do that in a second. Let's first of all, let's just this open up. So it's gonna open up, it's gonna fire up. So yeah, so what you can do, we have a listing from Blur, SudoSwap and everything. So let's say I'm buying 20 tokens, right? Let's add them up on here. And then I can just click on buy on this. Okay, I still have insufficient funds. Give me a second. Yeah, so I just switched the account. So I'm buying 20 tokens, right? I just click on buy, and 1, 2, like in 2 seconds you have MetaMask open up, right? 20 tokens you're buying here. And if you compare the same exact time with a platform like Blur, I'll just show you how much time it's gonna be faster. It's like almost 10 times faster than any of these platforms at like executing these transactions, buying them or anything. So if I just select like you can do any on this, I think. So let's say I select 20 tokens, right? And then you click on sweep. It's gonna take several seconds before it even can confirm if the transaction is valid or not. So you saw like it's 4, 5, 6 seconds just to get data back to you that you have insufficient funds. Generally like it's gonna be way slower, several seconds for that. But in here, if you're buying these tokens, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, you have to it open up. But generally it's going to be way quicker. It just really depends what marketplaces you're buying. So if I click on buy again, you will see that it's going to be way quicker. So there is one more thing that you do have to be careful about, that MetaMask does have like a first launch time. So if you're doing it for the first time on a new page, it can take a little bit longer to open up. But if you're doing it again, it's going to be generally way quicker in terms of response. So like right now it's like under 1 second kind of, right? But last time it was way more. So the reason for that is just MetaMask does that sometimes. If you have a better system, it's going to be quicker. If you don't have one, it's going to take time. But on other sites, if you compare with, it's going to be almost like as fast as it can be. Like it's going to be way faster. You don't even have to bother using anything else. So so I'll just go back to this project so we can continue what we're doing. So we went through the listing widget. Now we're going to be covering up all the charts and the trade widget on the right side. So let's just let this open up. Okay, so I just switched the internet also, so it's like way quicker at loading. So a better internet is gonna make it way quicker to load up as compared to like a slow internet connection. You are going to have some trouble on it. But if you have a decent internet connection, it will be like 4, 5, 6 second kind of load times on heavy project. Like this is a super heavy project, and this loaded up. So once it loads up, everything is going to be real time. The initial load can take a bit of time because there's so much data on it that you have to aggregate through. So once it loads up, it's perfectly fine. So here we have let's say this chart. So I'm just going to be going over all the charts, and then we can go with the trade widget. Actually, let's go with the trade widget first, and then we can go with the charts because it's very similar. So trade widget is also going to show you the trades as they happen in real time. It's going to show you the time, the price they happened at, the marketplaces, and the aggregator right here. So aggregator, we don't actually like color these or anything, just because you generally don't want to look at what marketplaces are selling at. You just cared about if they are, so what price they're selling at. So we just highlight those in ranks rather than highlighting aggregators, because generally you would not care about that when you're essentially buying in a project or analyzing it. Then you do have a widget at the top that shows you how many sales have happened in the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 15 minutes. And you can change this also. So if you want to look at, let's say, instead of 5, you want to do like 1 minute and 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever you want to do here, you can do on this. Let's say 15 days, you can do anything on this. 15 days, we have this many sales. 28, 2 minutes, we have this much. In 1 minute, we have 14. It's like kind of going together. On the right side, you have how many sales per minute this project has. So sales per minute is going to be static, so you don't need a 1 minute one, but you can adjust how you want that. And on the right side, on the left side, we also have like the sales, similar thing for the sales listings as well. So this many listings per minute, this much were listed for profit. So these listings that happened in the time frame that you select. So we don't have 3 configurable time frames on this, just one. So let's say you select 1 hour. So it's going to show you how many listings happen in 1 hour that are active. So you select 1 minute. Generally, you want to stay like super low time on this rather than like long time. Then you have listed down. So it's going to show you basically how much listings happened, how many of these listings were actually not new listings, but listings that basically reduce the price. So let's say you list the token for 1 ETH and then you reduce it for 0.5 ETH. So what's going to happen is it's going to count it as a relisted down listing, like you reduce the price on it. Then you have a P&L bar, which shows you how much listings out of this that happened are profit and losses. So one listing is listed for loss, everything else, everyone else is selling for a profit. So generally that's good that everyone's trying to get their profits out of this. And that's how this is going to work. And also one more thing that we kind of missed on is this bar that you have on the right side. So this shows you whether if it's a new listing or it's a relisting, price down listing basically. So the ones that you don't see this on any kind of marker on the right side, that means they just like listed that for as a new token. And the ones that have this as red, that means they reduce the price. So let's say before they set price to something else and now they reduced it. So it was 0.3 before, now it's 0.26. So they reduce that listing. So you can see if you just go by, if you're just filtered by price, we can see a lot of these listings we see here, people are trying to undercut each other. So that can be an indicator that you do want to look at. Then you do have this chart which shows you sales as they're happening with a scatter plot. You do have options to essentially select different time frames. You can select 12 hours or 4 hour or 1 hour, however you want to use it. And you have like basically how you want to essentially how you want to like sort color these dots basically. So you can select either rank, you can select none, and where it's going to be by default just gray. You can select ranks, which is going to color it up by the rank percentage. And you can look at the legends here as well. Then you have P&L, which is going to show you if the project is being sold for profit or loss. Since it's a free mint, we don't actually see any losses on here, but losses are going to be red dots. In here we don't have any right now. The marketplace is going to show you where the tokens are being sold. So the orange ones you have a Blur, the green ones you have I think is Seaport, so OpenSea. Then you have the purple ones, which are going to be your LooksRare. So we don't have much of them. It's just mainly OpenSea and Blur. So this is how the trend is going. And you can look at marketplaces where they were selling at essentially. At the bottom, we have the volume bar, which shows you like what time the project had the most volume. And you can adjust this chart by simply dragging on it. So you can drag on it as you wish. And you can adjust it like that as well. Hovering over these tokens is going to show you the token and the price that it's sold at, along with the rank and different kind of information that you would want to look at for the sales that are happening here. And then the last thing is you can scrub, as I already mentioned. You can also scrub through the right side on this like axis. So if you do want to focus on different price range, let's say, you can use this to essentially focus on that. And yeah. Then the last thing we have on this is going to be the tools we have at the top. So number one, you can like full screen it, screenshot it, whatever you want to do here. You can either enable or disable this option. It's going to like not give chart any color. Once you hover over it, it's going to color that. But if you're not hovering over it, it's not going to basically color that. That's how it's going to work. I would generally recommend like enabling it. And then you have tooltip, which will, if you're hovering over the chart, it's not going to show you the tooltip, which we were looking at earlier for each token. Enabling this will let you essentially see the tooltip. Then you have a path widget, which shows you where these tokens are being sold at. So if I enable, let's say 1 hour, it's going to be really low time frame. Let's just go 1 day on this, and then I enable the path. It's going to be super weird because sales are happening everywhere. But let's just try a little bit higher time frame on this. So it can be polished more. I think we'll probably do something about that. It shouldn't be that like everywhere, but it's supposed to show you a path of where the sales are happening. And it's just that's what it's gonna do. Then you have an option to enable and disable outliers. So let's say I select 4 hours, the amount of sales that are happening in 4 hours, and I do want to look at the outliers. So doing this will essentially enable outliers, and then you can enable or disable it based on if you prefer to look at outliers or not. And if you want to reset your chart, let's say you set something off and you want to reset it, you just double click and it's going to reset that. So double click is going to essentially reset the chart. So that's how this is going to work. So this is how the sales chart works. Then we have three charts below, which is going to be, first of all, our sell wall, and you can set any bucket on this, and it's let's say I set 0.05, and it's going to bucket these listings that we have on the left side by different price ranges. So we have 0.2, 0.3, 5, and it's going to basically do it by whatever you select, and each bar is going to represent that this bucket has how many listings exactly. So it's just going to give you a representation of that. You can color these bars in different ways. So let's say you want to color it by token holdings. So you can see right now on this project we have like on the first bar we have 5 tokens that are listed by someone that holds 10 plus tokens. So some whales that hold this project are trying to like dump it right now. So like that's how you would use an indicator like that. You can see if people holding too many tokens that are whale in the project are trying to like list for the lowest prices, then you can make decisions based on that. So that's how that indicator is going to work. You can also color it by different like ways. So if you don't want to look at colors at all, you can do that. Or if you want to look at by holders, you can do that. If you want to look at it by nature, which is going to be new listings or listed down, you can do that. So we can see a lot of listing downs are coming in around this range, the second bar, but the first one has mostly new listings. Generally you would want to keep it on holders. You can also look at by marketplaces, like Blur has the cheapest listing. My bad. Okay, so we can see that Blur has the cheapest listing, and we have Seaport, and this is going to be basically a distribution of where the tokens are listed. You can I would recommend keeping it by holders just because it's simpler. Not simpler, I mean it's more useful like that. Just so you can like figure out instantly if someone is trying to dump the project, you can instantly know how healthy the sell wall is essentially. Then you have another widget on this, which is going to be C and L. So C is going to work just as you would expect the top one to work. So this is going to basically disable the colors if you're not hovering over it. If you hover over it, it's going to color that thing. And the L is going to be the ladder mode, which is going to essentially ladder up the tokens that are listed and show you like over prices, how many total listings are there until a certain price. So that's going to ladder it up. Then the next two charts you have are going to be threshold based charts, momentum chart, and overtime listings. Okay, yeah, so so momentum chart and the sell wall overtime listing chart. So the way this is going to work is really, really simple, and you can make a lot of things with these two charts, and it's really useful. So the first thing, what it shows you, the first chart, the momentum chart, what it shows you is going to be listing versus sales. So you can look at how many listings have happened in the like last 30 minutes versus the amount of sales. So generally you would want to look at a trend that has more sales growing and less listings. And you can also see how many listing downs are coming in. So we can see around here we had all the new listings and decent amount of sales coming in. Actually more sales coming in than listings. So on this chart we can see the listings kind of dropped. So it's basically going to show you like less listings are happening and more sales are happening, so prices obviously going to go up. That's how that's going to work. As we hit here, as we get to this point, what started to happen is basically listings started to grow. So probably it hit a certain amount of price, which is I guess around here on 10. Yeah, so this was exactly the point. So this is where that happened, and then it started to go down because this was probably people try to liquidate here, and then it just like fall from there. So here we have listings kind of increased on this, the sales reduced, and the amount of listings down increased. So people starting to like undercut increased right here. We will see a lot of red, so undercuts increased here, and they essentially started to like come kind of cool down now, but they are still like way more than what we had before. So you can use this chart to essentially figure out momentum as it happens in real time, if it's the right time to sell or the right time to buy based on where the resistance points are, where like how the momentum is going, how the sell walls look. And the last chart, which is going to be your overtime listings, which is going to show you that the listings around this point were 1400, and then the next like almost 4 to 5 minutes it reduced by 200. That means like 200 tokens sold in this time. So this would probably have been this point like until like sales listings are going down would have been a good point to sell, as it started to go up, like competition is increasing, everyone's trying to sell, and which we see here on this chart as well. So this is going to represent the same amount of time frames, so you can kind of look at them quite nicely. One more functionality we have on this, which is really useful, is going to be ability to set thresholds. So let's say someone were listing at 99 ETH and they just started creating a lot of listings at 99 ETH when the floor is actually 0.2 ETH. You kind of want to ignore those listings, right? So what you can do on this is set a threshold. So let's say you select this bar on the sell wall chart, and it's going to show you that like we had a lot of listings and sales coming in until this point, and then listings at this price completely stopped. So basically this means it broke through this wall until this time, and then it started to like grow back up again. People started listing at that price, and that's how you basically look at it. Let's say I set a second wall. So basically you can set threshold like until this wall, how is the momentum doing until this wall, how many listings are there until this wall. So under the price point 250, there were 400 listings before, and then it dropped to 0, and now they're growing back up again to 2022. So this is how you would use these charts to essentially figure out momentum and the right time to buy and like basically exit. Much more detailed like walkthroughs of how to use these charts are going to be available on the YouTube channel that you can use to essentially figure out what's the right way to analyze and make like how to use these as proper indicators to figure out when's the right time to buy in and exit. I'm not going to extend this video further. The point was to basically give an overview of how everything works, and I think with this onboarding video you'll be able to essentially know exactly how to use everything, at least get started. But there's a lot of things which are going to take a little bit of time to get used to and understand. And yeah, as you have more questions, just hit us up on Discord, join the Discord. We have an amazing community, and ask whatever questions you have, and everyone's going to help you out with those things. And yeah,